21st century winds up wearing their shoulders for earrings. So we've got first ribs, we've got upper ribs that are all bunched up, we've got cervical thoracic junction, and we've got suboccipital. And we had somebody check, and you agreed. Has somebody checked there? Which side? You said it was right side?
For his cervicals?
Did you do the OA?
No.
I need somebody to come do an exam and tell me which side is the most restricted. Which side's the hardest? I'd like to use as many of you as possible so that you don't think that I've got some sort of deal worked out. I agree. That's kind of why I laid her down in palpator, because the duodenum is just to the right of the midline, so it always will reflect back. Now, you can't be organ specific from the vagus because it hits everything, but coupled with the sympathetics, which are quite well delineated, you can triangulate to the organ in question. So for me as an osteopathic physician, I might want to send the patient for x-rays, or I might want to draw some lab studies, I might want to do an MRI, etc., etc. I'm saying you can trust this stuff and read the paper in the Journal of Applied Physiology. Now, let your head fall right in my hand. I just want total relaxation. I want you to sag at the waist. So I'm going to stand in a way that I can brace her weight, so I don't have any tension in her trunk, and I certainly don't have any tension. And you can see in this position that all of the ligaments, the anterior ligaments of the neck are relaxed. I'm simply going to palpate with my thumb on the right side. Now, you almost need to, hang on a second, you almost need to look at the OA joint, the condyles of the atlas, as being two joints. They converge anteriorly, they diverge posteriorly. So you need to treat the front end. The good news is that seldom are the front of the OA joint at fault. But if they were, here's how I would do it. Just let your head fall on my hand. I simply stabilize or palpate the OA, and I start this little rocking sensation. The palm of my hand in contact with her forehead, and I'm just pushing backward. Now maybe the first 4 or 5 times that I do this, nothing happens. But right now, can you feel the motion? Mm-hmm. Suddenly, the next time you push, you'll feel a little motion. And each time you push, you'll feel a little bit more motion. I find the front side is seldom the problem. It's when we get to the back. And that's where her problem is. And I won't approach it any differently. I will simply shift my hand a little to the side so that I'm pushing on a diagonal. For those that know cranial, it's like sending the tide to batter against an occipitomastoid suture. You direct it on a 45-degree angle. So let your head fall. Palm of my hand. Thumb just monitoring. And I just apply. How many pounds of pressure would you say I'm applying to your forehead?
Not much. I don't really know pounds, but maybe 1.
You know, this is really very small. And I don't ever increase the pressure. You can see my periodicity is not particularly rapid. About 4 or 5 times, and the motion has already started.
What's the motion you're after again? So you're palpating the...
Every time my hand pushes back toward me, I can feel it bulge under my palpating thumb on her right OA joint, the posterior portion of the OA joint. And I just keep this up. So, if the original way was structure determines function, when it comes to treatment by this method, function determines structure. By introducing function, we begin to get normalization of the structure. William Sutherland gave this work in 1941, the winter of 41, to Harold Hoover, who began writing his series of papers on what he called functional technique. It's the same thing. functional, indirect, balanced ligament is strained. They're all these exaggeration techniques. They all are children of what we're showing tonight. And I don't vary the frequency, I don't vary the direction, I don't vary the amount of force that I'm using. It remains constant. Now the muscles are just starting to turn to mush on her right side. So I don't have to lock this thing, I don't have to crack it, I don't have to think about which way do I side bend, which way do I rotate. I simply am ironing out the fascia, and that's what's causing the joints to be locked up. And if I'm really successful in getting the fascia fixed, this thing will stay fixed for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, who was the person that... Come test her. Speak up.
It's very amazing. I feel a lot more movement on that right side now.
So now her good side is more restricted than her bad side.
Yeah.
Would this take any longer than it would be to set up an HVLA or a muscle energy? But I can guarantee you this will last longer than either the HVLA or the muscle energy, where we're treating joints.
Do you ever use it in tandem with?
Yes.
Because if you're treating the fascia,
Yes, especially, and I'll show you when we get done how I treat myself in the supine position. I can treat my arthritic asymmetrical facet, and I also can treat my spondylotic 4, 5, and 6, and then I will actively mobilize. And if I tried to do it before I relax I will bounce right off of it. It's the only technique I found that I could actually treat myself doing. But I can't think